Hey guys, welcome back. And before we start, I am going to answer two questions. One that came from Jimbo Jackson asking, what state am I in? I'm in Washington State, here in the Pacific Northwest. So the next comment I'm going to respond to is from Meggie. Meggie says, the maples are so amazing, even not in fall colors yet. Could you please tell me the name of the yellow maple in the minutes 3 to 4 of the video? I could not hear it. So the maple she was referring to, actually one of them is directly behind me. So the maple I was showing off was actually the summer gold. And summer gold is actually one of my favorites, a very heat tolerant Japanese maple tree. So if you need a Japanese maple tree for kind of a more heated situation, this is going to be one for you. Then the last maple that was just so happened to be in the video was this Japanese maple tree. This is the Yukon. I'll try and put the name up here for you, but Yukon, it's a Japanese maple tree that goes vibrant colors of yellow during the fall months. Right now, it's starting to change the colors of yellow, but originally it was a lime green. So it's making its way to yellow as of right now. Another thing that's super interesting about this specific tree, the Yukon, is that the branching is actually this lime green color as well. So if you're looking for a Japanese maple tree with bark interest, this is going to be one for you. It also handles quite some amount of sun. So this is in full sun. And as you can see, it hasn't really fried up without any issues. And then again, we have the summer gold, which has received a bit of frying here and there. Doesn't look the absolute best as of right now. And this one was placed in ground in 2022. It's also a considerably slow grower, so it doesn't grow all that fast. But it puts on lovely seed heads as well. So, or what are these called? The wingtip seeds? They're called Samiras, I believe. And again, the one you're looking at right now is the summer gold. So summer gold, which is going to be colors of reds and oranges during the fall. And you can see it's starting to get those colors amongst some of the leaves. So eventually, all of the leaves will be that color. So now that we've gotten that out the way, I do want to talk about the plans for tonight. The plan is to get in a ton of daffodils, or not a ton, more so like around 60 daffodils into ground. We have a couple packs of the pink charm daffodil. These are on the scented side for daffodils. So we've got about 2 packs of the pink charm, and then we have 3 packs of the Replete, which are a double daffodil. Besides that, we do have our bulb tone, which we will be adding into the holes of each bulb. And then to get the job done a lot quicker, we have the drill and we have the auger. So this is a bulb auger. You just put the attachment in, tighten it up, and then it's ready to go, just like so. So if you're wondering where to pick up one of these lovely bulb augers, you can pick them up from either one of your local garden centers or a hardware store like Lowe's or Home Depot. They should be carrying these around now. I'm just gonna sit this down. But when it comes to daffodils, these are one of those bulbs that will return for you year after year after year. I've placed daffodils in ground, like I want to say 4 years ago, and we have them constantly returning each and every year. There hasn't been a year since that I haven't had daffodils return for me, and it's always this lovely drift of them in different areas in the garden. We just want more, so that's what we're planning on doing today. So we're gonna head to the area where we want the bulbs so I can show you exactly what the plan is. So the area I want them in is going to be like right where this pumpkin vine is at, pretty much. So we're just going to have to work around it, which isn't going to be like the easiest of tasks. By the way, look at the pumpkin. It is getting pretty gosh darn large. Pretty amazing for a volunteer pumpkin. So in the back here, we're going to use it as the background. We do have some perennials that I kind of want to remove though. These just stop looking good during a certain part of the year. In fact, a few days ago, we already put in a few narcissus in ground in this little area. We had the extravaganza as well as the My Story that were placed in this area. I left the packages here so I know exactly where they were placed, so when we come back with more bulbs, we don't dig over them. So first things first, I will be removing the spiky ball perennials that I placed here from seed, mind you. I want to say 2 years ago. I mean, they're pretty much, I'm done growing these now. I want to grow something different here. So we're going to remove everything and start placing the bulbs. Woo! That was hard. So I'm not sure what the name of that plant was, and it wasn't too hard to remove, but the problem is, as I was removing it, I could see all these little seed heads fall to the ground. So we're most likely to have that same perennial come back in this area without me having to even try anything. And other than that, in this area, I do have some baby blue eucalyptus. It's been growing here for, I believe, 2 years now. I started it from seed, and I cut it back whenever it gets too large, just to keep it in check. And this way we can keep harvesting from it and bringing some parts indoors. But anyhow, it's pretty much clear and ready to start placing the daffodils. So I'm just gonna make the holes around 6 inches deep, if not 8 actually. So the soil was just a tad bit tougher than I thought, so I ended up having to bring out the shovel in order to dig in these pretty decent sized holes just for the daffodils. The auger was just taking too long to do the job, and I was only getting so many holes done at a time. Most instructions will tell you to bury them about 6 inches deep. This is a 6-inch hori knife, but you can see I've actually buried them a little bit deeper, around 8 inches, just because I wanted them to naturalize a little bit better. So I'm trying to stay within the 8 to 7 inch range. And daffodils just so happen to be pretty gosh darn hardy. So these guys, they'll do their thing. Also, one thing I did like is that being able to place these guys in groupings. This way, they're not like singularly and then all sporadic. I want them to be kind of just one drift with spaces in between. So we'll add in about a handful per hole because it's supposed to be like a tablespoon per bulb. And I think a handful should do. Like if we sprinkle it around a bit. Might have to mix it up in the hole a bit better. And thank goodness that daffodils are pretty reliable, because I know these guys will show up with ease. All that's left is to kind of knock the soil back into the holes. Maybe we'll deal with the shovel. So now that the back row is all buried, I am going to get it watered in with my hose here, if I can turn it on. And just like that, we got the daffodils in ground. But when it comes to daffodils, I realize that they do come up within like just a few months. Possibly in December, you start seeing the greenery. Then depending on the bulb type that you got, sometimes they'll flower in March, sometimes they'll flower in April. Just depends on what varieties you got. And whether they are mid-blooming, late blooming, or early blooming. And if you plan it out just right, you'll have a long-lasting daffodil bloom season, which is really, really nice. By the way, we didn't even get all the bulbs in ground. We just fit what we could, and we'll move the remainder into a different area where we like to see these bulbs. Anyhow, since I finished up a little sooner than what I originally thought I would, I do have another thing I would like to get done, which is to put lime around some of the ginkgo trees. Now, this isn't a fertilizer, this is just a pH adjuster. It's what helps the ginkgos get established a little quicker than the average speeds. By the way, if you are unaware, ginkgos do like alkaline soil, and that's what this is going to do. It's going to make the soil a bit more on the alkaline side. Which all I'm going to do is come around here, move the mulch out the way, which you can see there's a weed there as well, but that's for another day. I don't believe you can over lime a ginkgo, but we're just going to bring a couple handfuls around the drip line of this American ginkgo. This is a dwarf ginkgo. And this should be good. We'll work it into the soil slightly. We'll water it in, and then eventually this ginkgo should be able to take up water, take up nutrients a lot better than what it already is doing. By the way, this one did kind of singe a bit. This sits in full sun. I don't really water it, and that's why we got some singeing going on here and there. Then we have our golden spire ginkgo. This is one that stays way on the narrow side. I'm talking 6 foot wide, and then very tall, if not like 20 foot tall or so. For this one, I'm just gonna dash a bit, and then we'll work it into the soil around here and water it in, and that should be good. Now, again, this is not fertilizer. This is lime. It's just a soil pH adjuster. And normally, if you were fertilizing, you would also add lime with it. But since we are in the later portions of the year, like pretty much fall, there's absolutely no reason to fertilize your ginkgo tree. Just add the lime, leave it alone, and it should be fine. So next one up is the Princeton Century Ginkgo, which is pretty tall, and as you can see, it is already on its way to being yellow. By the way, I'm not sure if I mentioned it, but you want to be wearing gloves when dealing with lime, and you don't want to breathe this stuff in. So try not to make dust clouds, and also wear gloves. Pretty simple task. This is something you can do, or usually I do, around usually March, as well as we'll skip like 3 months, come back another 3 months, and then usually whenever you're in fall, you just add the lime, but you don't add fertilizer to the ginkgo. Later in March, we will come back through here. We'll add in some tree tone as well as some more garden lime until we feel as if the tree is fully established and doesn't need it. So probably the first 4 to 5 years adding garden lime, and then that's around it. But you can continue the cycle if you feel it's needed. But alright guys, I will see you in the next video, which is probably going to be tomorrow, because I do have plans to get some tulips in ground, if not in containers. So I'll see you guys next time. Peace!